Hello, very good evening to everyone. Welcome to the weekly video review again. My name is Song Yang. I'm going to go through with you some of the stocks that has been very bullish recently. We're starting with SDI. We are going to talk about the ever bullish banks, the up and coming property sectors, and the potential recovery of our tech counters. And of course, we will not forget the counters like the transport counters, the transport sectors, which we've seen a very strong movement today. Let's start with the SDI index right now without delaying further. So let me just pull up the screen and let's see over here we have the a very strong SDI. Let's praise our SDI. The whole Asian market hasn't been strong, but our SDI keep going up higher and higher. So if you want to measure this performance since we hit the bottom in February, we have went up by at least 8.3%, and this is a very good performance by our index. And of course, this is lifted. This is made possible by our banks, where DBS has been hitting new highs. This OCBC has hit its top resistance, so as UOB. What is going to be for STI? So you can see STI today went up to hit its resistance at 3116, and this resistance is another milestone for the index, because once we can cross above this resistance, the next resistance to watch is 3230, which is a major resistance because it has been tested twice over here. So we can see that this once and twice, it turns out to be a major resistance. So will STI continue its stellar performance? It really got to look at our banks. And if you look at DBS, no doubt DBS has been going up. And if you measure the performance of DBS right now, in fact, it has gone up by 13.5%. But do you notice that as it goes up higher, the candles getting more and more uncertain? Here we call this a doji. We can, look at this as an uncertain candle as well, because we have some upper shadow. We have upper shadow and we have lower shadows as well. So this kind of candles usually represent some certain uncertainty. So there's a question that people posted to me, and we see that, or rather this question is whether the market is forming abandoned baby. So this abandoned baby is actually a three candle pattern, where you can see the first candle here, usually a white, then the second candle usually a black, and then the third candle here is a black candle. So that will form an abandoned baby, which is a bearish reversal sign to tell us that the stocks is going to reverse down. Okay, but it hasn't formed yet, so we can't say that unless tomorrow there's a gap down and form a long black candle like this, then we have an abandoned baby. Okay, and what we can take note as well is, if you can see the chart, you notice that as steep as it goes, we can see a channel up here. Okay, so the channel itself can be broken if the bullishness continue here and breaks above this upper channel. Then we would potentially see more upside. But if it were to come down and break this lower channel, of course, it will be good for the banks to take a break, and hopefully it can find some support over here at 27.47. And from here, this level, when it goes down, okay, from 28.07, if we were to pull back from a confirmation, then go down further to 27.47, form a base here. As it rebound up, then we have an opportunity to re-enter here. Okay, that will be the most perfect scenario. But usually when the market is bullish, it doesn't give you any chance as yet. Now, do remember that don't try to catch the market or the banks on the first pullback, because sometimes it may continue go down further. Let's give you example here. You can see that there was strong upside for DBS over here. Then you can see it comes down, first pullback, then consolidate, then go down further until it hit the base, then it start to go up. Okay, so this is where you can look for an entry here. So this is what you can do going forward with DBS if you are looking at to have this counter as a good trading counter. So for OCBC is also the same. You can see as it goes higher, the candle is getting shorter. What you can also look at is that we can see this upper channel going higher, and then of course you can see it breaks above, so it tells you that, wow, when it breaks above at this instance, it really have the strength to continue to go higher. But will it continue to go higher, right? So it boils down to the next candle, where if it doesn't comes back into the channel, of course it can go up forever, but hey, no stocks goes up forever every day. So do watch out for a certain pullback. Okay, so how bad is going to be a pullback? Some support likely is going to be around first this region. This is a good support for OCBC. Now, if the pullback gets stronger, we probably see a pullback to 1107, but that is a little bit too far. So we shall see how it goes. Now, of course, if you were thinking of buying the banks, of course, to follow up on last week, belief is that I still think that the banks is a little bit too high to chase. Of course, if you think backwards on hindsight, the banks, if you had bought some last week, you could have made some profit. From 1140, you could have sold DBS at 1182 today. That is a handsome 40 cents profit, but these are on hindsight, right? So we still want to practice what we call the safety first concept, where we, of course, look for a good opportunity to enter rather than chasing rising stocks. For UOB, we can see that there are some selling pressure here as it opened higher and closed lower. So will UOB be the first to pull back, dragging the rest of the banks together? That depends on the next candle. Now you can see here a very similar candle that was formed previously, and that did not stop UOB from going up higher. Primarily because the other two banks are still going up, so UOB will still follow through. But if the two other banks start to form black candles over here at this region, well, then we can see UOB also potentially pull back, where the next support, the next good support will be at 24.23. But if it can form some support at around 24.96, that will be good as well. So this is the part where we have to watch carefully when's our next chance to enter into bank. We know that our banks are strong fundamentally. When the market is bullish, they can really run. So for those who really want to make money, make banks as one of your trading target, keep them your watch list. Once they have a good opportunity to enter, right? Do not hesitate. Just get some position, and then one day you'll be well rewarded. As on hindsight, you can see how the banks perform right now. Now let's move on to the property counters. For those who have been following my videos or my emails, first of all, I did post CapitaLand entry at 316 over here, and CapitaLand did rally up to 324 and then start to pull back. So it went down to test the support level again. Okay, so to give you a visualization how the support looks like, this is a downtrend line. So it tests the support and then start to rebound over here. So I added a position here. Okay, and so far so good. It has gone up to 328, and this resistance, minor resistance here at 329. Once it breaks through, the next resistance that I'll be watching is 336 and 338. Okay, the chart wise is looking good. Okay, so we can see that the weekly chart is a turning point, and we need a solid closing above 329 in order to show us that it can hit 336, 338 level. City development is equally nice as well. You can see that this is a very nice pattern I usually like, but the next candle is very important. You can see a rally pullback. So this is a rising pattern, and this rising pattern must see the next action, which is the next candle breaking out from its resistance. So we can see that 767 is a very important level for city development to test and break. And so once it tests and break, I think it has a very good chance to break above 775 and then eventually 809. Okay, UOL over here, you can see the gap has been filled up. As I mentioned last week, you know, it needs to fill up the gap, and it did. And what happened next is that it got to rebound up to test this resistance. So now the gap is no longer resistance, so the resistance is going to be at 763. And we can see here that UOL has a very good chance to do so. Why? Because if I turn on to the weekly chart, we do see some support, a very strong support over here as it formed, and we want to see stronger conviction with a higher closing. So if the wick close at 750, that will be fantastic. Okay, now for those who watched the video last week, I did mention about Hong Kong land, and I did a projection at 5/16. Okay, so for those who remember, so when Hong Kong land was here, okay, last Friday, I met up with one of my clients, and what happened was that he was asking me, hey, what do you think about Hong Kong land? So I say, Hong Kong land, if you were to notice the price action and the pattern that it moves, it is very synchronized. So what do I mean by synchronized? Let me just explain to you. How do I project it to 5/16, which I briefly just touched on Hong Kong land last week. I did not actually explain to you why do I do think that you can go there. So very simply, you can look at Hong Kong land movement starting from the base over here. So let me just zoom out the chart. You notice that Hong Kong land forms a base here. Okay, and it start to move off and move into an uptrend. Okay, so you can see an uptrend over here. So erase everything. So start again. So you can see it start to move off over here. And with this base, you notice that after this base, it actually moved to a certain high before it start to pull back. So let's start from this bottom and go to this high before the pullback. So this is around a 20% movement. Okay, so if I were to take this same measurement up, you notice that although the percentage over here changes because the denominator change, but the length of the arrow doesn't change. So you can see that it moved up of the same magnitude. Okay, fast forward till today, if I were to move this up to the low over here, you can see the low here, the low is here, the low is here. Do you notice that the length of the arrow hasn't changed at all? So this is what we call self-fulfilling prophecy for technical analysis and price projection. So you notice that, wow, miraculously, this Hong Kong land tested this 521. So of course, I did a what we call the a very so-called safe projection at 516. It has a higher chance to hit. But if I were to do more ambitious one, of course, 521. Following the steps, you will realize that, why it touched 521 today. Okay, now of course the key catalyst to this movement is when Jardine merger is going to happen. Okay, so with the announcement, of course, this is a very strong catalyst for the Jardine related counter. So Hong Kong land is related to Jardine, and Hong Kong land is a is a subsidy of Jardine, as everybody know. And of course, when this action comes in, everybody in the market is thinking that Jardine is starting to unlock its value because it has a hidden value, and and this is reflected in the stock price. So if Hong Kong then can continue to move up higher, of course, the next resistance is going to be 555, follow up by 584. Okay, so let's take a look at the property. Property is over. So let's take a look at the tech counters. So we have AEM hitting the bottom, oversold conditions. Today we end as a white candle with the volume spiking up, searching volume. So can AEM recover from here? This is the first good sign. Now we need more, right? And of course, let's take a look at the technical indicators, which may offer some more clues to tell us why it rebounds. So as you can see here, we have the MA support, the 100-day and the 200-day MA support. Well, of course, you can see that this counter is very oversold. And if the rebound continues, I would say that it should hit back $4 again. And then if we start to use it as a resistance and form a base over here, start to form a base, and then start to break out, this will be a very strong conviction why you need to get into AEM. But if it doesn't and continue to go all the way up, of course, you may not have the chance to catch it. But we have to wait for the next chance then. So when's the next chance? Of course, we can see there's some pullback along the way when it forms uptrend, when this uptrend happen. Okay, so we may want to wait for that pullback to happen. Now, this, if you were to notice, this part is what I have mentioned, and it happens before as well. Okay, so this is where you have a very strong, convincing buy before it start to move up higher. Okay, so we have to wait patiently, unless if you don't mind trying to catch the bottom. Of course, this is the higher risk area for you to take action. Okay, you have to measure your own risk profile, and then take it when the stocks is hitting at the 200-day MA support. Okay, so we got to watch further. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart shows us that this counter is sitting on a 20-week MA. This gives a very strong conviction that the chances of this counter holding at this 20-week MA is holding at this support level is strong. So let's see whether it can really hold at this support. So we need it to close higher again this week, maybe to $4. Then we have UMS. Okay, so we have UMS here. UMS also closed strongly. This forms a one white soldier candle pattern. Okay, and this one white soldier candle pattern can lead to a more rebound. And if you look at the volume, is tremendous. So the next resistance to watch is 118 to fill up this gap in order to move back to the 140 range or 130 range here. So you need to fill up this huge gap over here. And if I turn on the indicators, you realize that UMS rebounding off is 200-day MA. AEM rebounding off is 200-day MA. What about Franken? Did Franken rebound off its 200-day MA? No, Franken did rebound, but from its 100-day MA, also from a one white soldier. So what does it tell us? Tomorrow, right? We need a strong closing, higher white candle, higher closing, a white candle, right? That will tell us more potential upside. Now, if you take a look at the volume for these three counter, do you realize they are higher? Okay, so AEM, Franken, UMS, they have created high volumes today. So is this the sign of bottoming, right? So we can look, further the next few days. So these are the time where we can look for opportunity, and also do keep a close eye on my email, because I'm going to highlight them when they shows me a very strong call to action. Venture. Okay, there are some weakness in the selling, as the candle pattern suggests. and right now it's trading at the support level zone. So this is support, so this is a very strong support, okay, major support over here. And what we are looking at is a doji, okay, so a doji here. So we need a candle that close above this downtrend line, and then that would potentially tell us that this counter may be able to hit 1980. Okay, so how do I do the projection? Basically, I'm just using resistance, so this is one of the resistance. Now if I want to do a formation projection, is around here, so the breakout may lead this counter towards 1963. So right, it's around there. So what you want to see here is which level would you want to use. So very simply, what you just need to do is you just need to wait for this counter to hit 1965. If it goes higher, close higher, you just wait for the next one. If it doesn't start to turn down, maybe you want to take some profit. But of course, this counter, most importantly, need to have a white candle and a surging volume here to tell us that it's going to go up. That will be the first call to action. Okay, Olam. So let's go to the next sector already. So we have Olam. So why do I want to highlight Olam? Because I mentioned this in an email this morning, and Olam is trading at a very strong support, major support. No doubt, I have some doubt in my mind where, because I do have a concern whether this is a topish pattern, but I would want to give the counter a chance. So this counter has to have a higher closing. So the candle here is very important. Close here, white candle. Volume very important. Why? Because volume comes in higher with a white candle, tells you buyer in control. Then increases the chance for this counter to hit this high at 169. So if it can go to that the point where it has higher closing and higher volume, then we can see potential upside. Now, of course, what are the counters that are in the same sector? We have Golden Agri, which is the palm oil, doing some plantation as well. Plantation sectors, I would say. So Olam's plantation. So you can see Golden Agri is at a high. Then we have Wilma also doing plantation, but Wilma seems to be struggling to rebound from its low over here, despite having good results and giving more dividends. Then First Resources, as I mentioned last week, so our market's ready to play what we call the sector rotation. Excuse me. What we want to see here is that, you know, buyers is in control, looking at to push this counter for the time being. We don't see in First Resources, as you can see, struggles over here at this range, and Wilma is struggling as well at this tight range of trading, struggling go higher. Surprisingly, Golden Agri is at a high. Okay, so you can see they are of a different charts altogether. So it's very hard to find some confluence in them. So I would say that you just have to trade individually. Okay, so for Olam, just continue to watch for a confirmation. If no confirmation, no action. Very simple. SIA, right? Yesterday, someone asked me whether SIA can continue to go higher. I say, there's a chance there. And in fact, I wanted to have SIA inside my email. But what holds me back is that I need a convincing closing like this white candle and surge in volume. Ultimately, it's still the risk and reward, because from here to here, the resistance is 541. It is very close, so SIA got to move up and break above this resistance, then uptrend continue. So you can see the higher movement, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, to continue go up higher. Since for sets, sets is in the email this morning, and what you see here is that you can see that sets are moving off from the low, almost a one white soldier, but unfortunately the closing is not as good, okay, as we would like to. but still, if you look at the indicators, they it moved and rebound off from its 20 MA. Stochastics is crossing up. So if it can test this resistance at 454, then we can see a more potential upside where uptrend continues. Okay, then SIA Engineering, right, moving off from this low, from the support level, it rebounded off, and the next level for you to look out for, very simply, just 219. Okay, once it tests 219, break out from there, uptrend continue, right, and to the next level where we could see a higher 2.29, and even higher if we can break out. So definitely there's some chance for SIA Engineering, and hopefully so. And market talk is that there might be some M&A action coming, merger and acquisition action that is coming to SIA Engineering's way. So if it's coming, hopefully it can offer as high as 280. That will reward the shareholder very much appreciated level. Okay. So with this, this comes to an end to my video. So I hope that I've given you some ideas that you can use for the market. So just to have a quick summarize for the stocks that we've discussed, of course, we know the banks are high. Of course, there's no way for us to chase them, but we can see some bottoming action for the tech counters, AEM, UMS, and Franken. And hopefully the NASDAQ, they start to find some bottom and start to rebound. As we can see last night, NASDAQ haven't ended their selling. But if that is the capitulation where the last batch of sellers has thrown into the market, and now the bulls are ready to fight back. So we can see a very strong closing from NASDAQ tonight. Tomorrow, our tech counters are potentially moving up. Okay, then of course, we can see SIA Engineering starting to move off from their support level. So if they can continue, then we have a more potential upside. Okay, before I end off, I suddenly remember one counter, ComfortDelGro. I remember I keep talking about ComfortDelGro, and then I mentioned that we need a breakout to happen. Okay, so did it break out? Yes, it did. Okay, and what we are looking at is a very strong white candle today with the nice solid height in the volume. And the next resistance for us to watch, well, 175. So if 175 can be broken, welcome to a new uptrend. So you can see that ComfortDelGro has a very nice consolidation over here waiting for its time. And I have posted this in my email as well before this breakout happened. In fact, I set an entry price at 165. And I also did post Keppel Corp double bottom waiting to break up, but Keppel Corp is a little bit disappointing. You know, it struggles to move up higher. So yeah, for the time being, you know, if you have Keppel Corp, just wait out for the upside, because so far there's no reason to sell yet. But if you don't have, you know, might as well just let it be, right? And last but not least, Cenko Industry. I just want to quickly take a look at the chart, look at the volume, look at the white candle, strong solid candles. The next resistance for you to watch for those who have Cenko Industry, 1.86. That's a resistance. Okay, finally, we know the Hong Kong tech counters has been sold down badly, and let's take a look at the chart here. This is a ETF that tracks the Hong Kong tech counters, and what do we see here? We see a doji closing, and well, if this is a sign for reversal, of course, a white candle is very much needed. Okay, so thank you for viewing this video. I'll see you next week. Feel free to share around with your friends. If you like this video, do feel free to give me a like. And I hope that you know, I can find more stocks and then share more, and hopefully we can benefit from this. Okay, a very good night to you, and have a good week ahead.